Are you sober and scared the world might actually be falling apart for real this time? No sarcasm, no mind calendars involved, like actually full of fear and anxiety that a lot of people are dying because Anyway, are you sober? Are you sober and isolated because COVID-19 has shut down a lot of stuff, like maybe your 12-step meetings? Are you sober and wondering why several states people just aren't wearing masks and yet they canceled all of gay pride? Hey, listen, this is a podcast for you sober folks. You're gonna really like it, I promise. This is Sober During Crisis. What's going on, everybody? It's Ange Buxton, your host. I'm coming to you this week from a place of frustration. I'm really frustrated that I've been inside for so many months now, and there are people just rambling on with no masks and not giving a shit about anybody but themselves. I am grateful that I'm not one of those people today. I'm grateful I have a program that tells me, look, the world does not revolve around you. In fact, wearing a mask has nothing to do with you. And these kinds of things in my head I used to push aside, and the rules just didn't apply to me before. I would drive around drinking and driving all the time, and I thought that was normal. And stuff like that today, it truly makes my stomach turn because I don't make those kinds of decisions today. On the other hand, I'm frustrated just not being able to see my sober people, the people that were physically there for me when I was getting sober and learning how to work a program and learning how to be a good person. I miss my family. I miss that not having full-blown panic attacks after I see someone, even on a social distance walk, and just feeling like, oh my God, I have COVID. I don't know about anybody else out there, but I've been getting these like true straight up night terrors, just waking up sweating, thinking I have COVID. And maybe that's the new normal. Maybe I just have to get used to this. I worry a lot about the political state of our country because I think leadership is not keeping people safe, just at a basic keeping people alive level. And the only reason I bring up politics right now is because it is a threat to my well-being to the point where I'm concerned, like truly and genuinely concerned, that I'm going to lose people I love and that things are only going to get worse somehow. And I have to take all that fear and recognize it as fear and just turn it over to my higher power. And let me tell you, that is a task, folks. That is a whole task. Luckily, I can find a little bit of comfort by confiding in people that I trust and opening up to people around me. The only reason I'm able to verbally process this on a public podcast is because I do those things on a regular basis. I used to never want to call anyone ever. And now, if I don't call at least one person a day, talk to one other person, they don't even have to be an addict or an alcoholic in recovery. It can just be someone that I know and trust. If I don't do that one time a day, I feel truly crazy. I don't want to say empty inside, but I do feel detached from the world at large. And in this way, I am grateful for some of the habits that quarantine has forced me to forge in my life. One of which is reaching out to other addicts and alcoholics in recovery and asking them to be on this show. So without further ado, our guest this week is the very super dope, very super chill Jay. And Jay and I figured out that we used to haunt some of the same bars and clubs, which is just a weird and fun coincidence. But now he's somebody that I really look up to. He works a great program. He has a sponsor. He's full of advice for newcomers. And he has a little over a year and a half sober. And some really great and specific tips and advice for those of us out here that are trying not to backslide into our old habits, old ways of thinking, and old ways of behaving. So yeah, let's learn some stuff together here on Sober During Crisis.
Oh, you hear me?
Oh shit, yeah, what's good? Oh man, yes, it's working.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm good. You're at work?
Yeah.
Yo, this is lit. Awesome.
Yeah, dude, I literally have nothing to do at work, so I was like, fuck yeah.
That's so dope. Wait, remind me what you do again? Wait, if you can.
I won't.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I work in direct care.
Gotcha.
That's as much as, oh my God, there's a rainbow over in Northampton.
There's a rainbow over the gayest place on the planet? What?
Yeah.
What?
Dude, I just like looked up and got so distracted. This is like happening to me a lot lately. But it's like it's a full rainbow. You can like see the purple
What?
almost.
I'm
Yeah, dude, it's
jealous.
like crazy. Let me see if I can actually like take a picture of this.
Yeah, hell yeah, do that shit.
Yeah, that's crazy. Cool. Yeah, no, I worked in direct care, and right now I am working at a quarantine site for people who have tested positive or have gotten tested and don't know, and have either no home or unstable housing, basically.
Oh wow. That's dangerous
Yeah.
shit right now, dude. That's crazy. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I
You
haven't
know,
left my house in like a whole ass month, so I can't. I mean, do you get a lot of anxiety being out, or what stage are you at with dealing with this?
I mean, I spent like so much time like just compartmentalizing everything my entire life that I'm like, I don't know what anxiety is until it really hits me. So yeah, it's more of this like it feels more like silent panic, but without any of the like indicators. Like
Yeah.
there is some like underlying fear in the understanding of like I am putting myself in a situation which most people would be like, oh hell no, no way in hell, and I'm doing it gladly and willingly in order to help people
Yeah. That's
because
crazy.
I mean that's what I need to do, to like be saying, dude, this rainbow is like some pretty ham.
That's a gift to you. That's for you from God for everything you're doing. I swear.
Ah,
Yeah, that's
okay.
lit. No, that's some
I'll take your word for
right.
it.
That's some shit my mom says. But honestly, I do believe every time I see a rainbow, it's really hard not to feel like deeply spiritual.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something a little extra to it. Yeah, I mean, for me, like that whole like connection with the higher power thing is quite tenuous. That's why I am not as far along in the steps as I would like to.
Oh, is it that
Because
HP shit?
yeah, and it's because I grew up in a situation which makes it really difficult for me to connect with any kind of like spiritual concept. I just borrow my sponsor's higher power and like trust that that's gonna be good enough, because it's just like for me it's just really hard to like even attempt to conceptualize like a higher power that's not your stereotypical bearded old white man in the sky
Yeah.
or the other one, which is like the child with a magnifying glass on top of an anthill just burning ants off one by one.
Yeah. The science, yeah. Science also I guess would you identify as agnostic?
I don't know, because I definitely have a belief in something like much greater and much smarter than, anything that humanity could ever come up with, that's probably out there in the universe, considering that, we don't know everything that's out there.
Yeah, isn't
You
that
know?
so scary? I hate thinking. Honestly, I look up at whenever I look at like a night sky, I'm like, damn, shit like really doesn't matter that much. Like
Dude, it gives me hope.
yeah, a
You
little
know,
bit, right? Yeah.
it's really scary, but it also gives me hope that there's something out there that could improve our existence.
Oh,
You know,
wow. I
even if
don't
it's
feel
by
that. That's
just
so
believing
optimistic.
in it.
That's kind of like The Secret, right? Where you manifest it, you put it out into the universe and then it comes to be. I find that's what
Dude,
happens to me a lot with gratitude, where I'm just like, thank you so much for what I have, and then I get more shit. And I'm like, well, thank you for this too, and then I get more shit.
it is literally like the rainbow. You know, it rains, rain sucks, but I can see the rainbow. I know, theoretically how it works. But can I touch it? No, I can't. But it's there. You know,
I think your higher power is a rainbow.
dude, don't even start.
Bro, I think your higher power has a month and it's June.
Yeah, it's like between May and June because Pride in Northampton usually happens right before my birthday,
Oh yeah, it's
like the
Cinco de
weekend
Mayo,
before my
yeah.
birthday. So I'm just like, yep, all these
Damn.
people are celebrating because it's my birthday.
That's like triple triggering because already when it's Pride, I'm like, it's so hard to think. Well, this year was easy because I didn't even fucking leave my house, but it's it's hard around Pride. I'm used to getting drunk and going out and doing whatever, and then for it to also be your my birthday, I don't think I've had a birthday where I feel like, oh my God, that was so much fun. It's always like, wow, that was a huge disaster.
Dude, I can honestly tell you that the only birthdays that I feel like have been great have been the ones that I've had that were sober,
Mm.
which is two now.
What up?
You know, like
Yeah, two.
yeah, I'll be at 2 years in October.
But you've
But
had two sober
honestly,
birthdays. Yeah, that's what's up.
yeah, and I feel like like I hit a year and a half, and I kind of stopped counting because like I've gotten to this point where it's like, yeah, when it comes to sobriety, all I have is today. Like yesterday and all those days are already gone. And yeah, I was sober and that's great, but like if I don't like stay in today, like I'm going to pick up. Especially
Word.
with like the state of the world and everything that's happening, like it's so difficult,
Dude, I like really
especially
appreciate that because you telling me that staying in the day is helping you, like, that just pulled me out and made me think about. I've been getting lost in my days, dude. So I'm
yeah,
glad
and I
to
mean
hear it.
they just feel like a blur.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, I mean, I've just got to be like right now, because otherwise I just get lost. And once I get lost, that game is completely over. I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Because if I get lost in my own shit, the one thing that's gonna happen is that I'm gonna get lost and I'm gonna end up in a liquor store.
I hate when that happens when you when you walk out of your house and then you're like, damn, did I really just walk to the one brewery in my neighborhood? Like
Yeah,
that shit really happens to me. And I just moved to this neighborhood and somehow like I one time autopiloted there and then I'm like, okay, first of all, body, you're so extra. We're not drinking today, no matter what. But second of all,
yeah,
like what is this fucking disease, bro? Like this shit really be cunning, baffling, powerful.
yeah, dude. That shit is like having an autopilot that's like set to kamikaze, dude. Like
Yep, yep.
literally, like you flip that switch and like you're diving into the ground from 10,000 feet. Like that shit, it does not take oxygen.
Ooh, ooh. Damn bars. This is already my most poetic episode. We got
Oh,
a
dude.
we got a rainbow both metaphorically and physically. Like this shit is they're after me Lucky Charm style.
I appreciate it, especially since I'm wearing all black. I'm just like spewing out colors in every other direction, I guess.
Hell yeah. No, goths do it best. That's what I always say. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Nah, I've just been trying to like stay in the moment and do what feels right. And honestly, this job literally came out of like nowhere because I had been unemployed for a little bit over a year, and I had applied to this one company last year towards the end of the year, and they were like, "You're a perfect candidate for what we need," blah blah blah. And the reason why I got sober was because I got pulled over on a night in August of 2018, and I blew legal limit, still got arrested, um, fought the charge and won,
Nice, dude.
and it still keeps coming up on my record that I got arrested.
What the fuck? And you were acquitted?
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
on,
but
man. This shit is so
completely,
fucked up.
yeah, but it's whatever. I was like, this has got to be something like another lesson that I still have to learn to grow to like,
Yeah.
you know, there's something here that I'm missing. And then, I got sober after that whole debacle. I still kept smoking weed. That's why my sobriety date is in October, not August, because I got a sponsor, and you know my sponsor, and my sponsor was like, so are you sober? And I was like, yeah, I am. And then my sponsor was like, are you really sober? And I was like, well,
Yo. Dang.
And
You got
then
called out.
they were
Yep.
like, yeah, wicked. And like my sponsor knew before even asking me that question, because we had talked before. I was like, you gonna be my sponsor or what? And and it was basically like, yeah, I'm not drinking, but I'm still smoking a lot of pot. Not as much as I was, but it's still a lot. And like, I'm trying to like cut down or quit. And then like a week later, I was like, you need to be my sponsor, basically. So how about this sponsor business? Can you tell me what's up? And so they like told me, and I was like, well, at that point I hadn't smoked weed for several days. And then I purposefully sat in my living room while one of my housemates was smoking pot to get like secondhand. And
Oh
then it
man.
clicked, like, if this is how far I'm willing to go to like feel like any kind of different from the way that I feel by altering like what my brain is doing right now, this is definitely something I need to put down.
Wow. Yeah, that's so powerful. Like it just became very apparent that I've definitely had those moments too. I mean, that was like with Adderall. I would stop drinking, but I'd keep taking the Adderall, and it was just like I knew that I knew that I shouldn't have been taking it. Like it was so
Yeah.
obvious. And then sometimes I would sit there and if I ran out or I would take too much or I was just constantly obsessing over it and how much I had and how much I needed and how much I needed for like this show or like, oh, I have to write that new set, so I'm gonna need like 80 milligrams a day this weekend. Like it was literally just drug addict behavior, but it was prescribed, so I was writing it off. And every single time I ended up drinking again because it was like I might as well, but I'm like basically acting like an addict anyway. I might as well do it with the
Yeah.
drug I love the most, which for me is like, give me a 6 pack of IPAs. Like, and now it's like I notice it with other shit. Like, well, I guess food, but mine is more retail stuff. Like, I like to collect shit, so I'll be like buying stuff and then I'll be like obsessing over it. And if I didn't have a program, honestly, I would think that was kind of normal.
Yeah. And I mean, for me right now, like that whole thing of like figuring out what to do with my money to not drink has been a thing.
That's true, yeah.
Like, I lost my glasses, so I got myself a new pair of really expensive, really nice glasses. That was like something that I needed, but I literally could have spent a couple $100 less.
But
But I
okay,
was
but
like,
I gotta say that's
I
a treat yourself moment. Like I think you did the right. As somebody that wears shitty ass glasses and really needs new ones, like I feel like that was a responsible choice.
yeah, that. But also like, I just got myself a motorcycle.
Oh my, okay, now Jade, now you crossed the line. You got a motorcycle, bro. Yeah. Wait, I'm so jealous. Tell me everything.
And here's the thing, like I can't even get the permit endorsement on my license because I can't get an appointment at the DMV.
Oh my god. Well, illegal cross rocketing. Let's do it. Off roading. Hey.
Nope.
Come on.
N-
Oh
nope.
fuck.
You want to know what I'm going to do?
Oh no.
I'm going to like get that bike because it's a bike that's been used, it's a starter bike. Paid $1,200 for the thing. And what I want to do is just like take it to the mechanic, have the mechanic like look it over, make sure it's in perfect running shape. If I
Uh-huh.
can't ride it this season, that's fine. It's going to get covered. It's going to like maybe even go into a storage unit, whatever. It's going to get started regularly, make sure that it runs, maintain it really well. Next year, when it's like, get the motorcycle permit endorsement on my license early spring. Once riding weather comes around, I can take my bike out,
Oh, hell
you
yeah.
know?
Well, that's the
So,
most responsible thing I've ever heard.
so it's not something that I'm just like impulse buying. I've wanted a motorcycle for like the last 9 years since I was 20. I was
Damn.
like, I want a motorcycle, but at that point, I knew that if I bought a motorcycle, I was going to end up killing myself on it.
Right. No,
You know?
I'm with you. I've said that to my partner before. I've been like, I would definitely buy a bike, but even with a year of sobriety, I still don't want to, like, if I get everything squared away, then start drinking, I'm gonna be dead within a week. It's not even, it's like a
Yeah.
no-brainer. So I can barely ride a bike, so I'll stay with that.
And like what I want is like to have it as not just like a like luxury item, but like as a method of transportation
Mm.
when I'm like going to work. If I don't have to drive clients around at my job, why am I gonna be throwing like $40 of gas every other day at my car when I can put like $20 of gas in my bike? You know, just like,
Yeah. What if you did have to
you know,
drive clients around on there, yo? They would love it. They'd be like, my fibromyalgia feels great. Woo!
yeah, nah.
They'd be like, I'm letting my wig off tonight. And then they would take their slippers, they would hold them in both their hands and let their nightgown flow into the wind as you ride.
Let's not.
All right. In this fantasy, no. No, but it
Yeah,
sounds like you
dude,
have a
but
dope plan, honestly.
yeah, and I mean, like, you know, like, I feel like now I've gotten to a point where I'm, like, being a lot more responsible about the way that I'm doing things in my life. Not necessarily about the things that I'm doing, but definitely the way in which I'm doing them.
Mm.
Because, like, you know, I live in an apartment where I'm the fourth roommate. I have the smallest room. My room is literally smaller than any jail cell in this country.
Oh my God, get the fuck out. Like,
You know, I've got a storage unit full of stuff that could furnish an apartment, and it's, what, July 1st? And my rent's paid through the end of September.
oh,
You know,
okay,
and
I see you. Yeah.
and the goal is to, like, before this gig's up, because it's gonna eventually have a time limit, that I'll have my rent paid through the end of January. But
Oh,
having
wow.
rent paid through the end of September gave me the permission to be like, all right, you have been thinking about buying a motorcycle for almost 10 years. What is out there? You know,
Yeah.
and I started looking and looking and looking, and nothing was happening. You know, nothing was panning out. And I was like, fuck it, and gonna end up never getting the fucking motorcycle, you know, just putting myself down really hard
Mm.
about it. And then I was like laying in bed one night after getting home from work, wiped as fuck, just super despondent. And I was like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. I'm just putting myself in a place where I'm just like feeling like I keep kicking myself. And I
Yeah.
don't need that. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to turn it over and see what happens.
Yeah.
I was just like, you know, if I find a bike, awesome. If I don't find a bike, it's fine.
Yeah.
And like 2 days later, I'm scrolling through Facebook. I see this ad for a motorcycle, this like half an hour away from where I live, and it's
What?
$1,200.
That's fucking crazy.
And so I message the person, and they don't message me back right away. And so I start getting all anxious. My response has been like, when you're feeling like that, take a shower, take a nap, do something. It's going to change.
Yep. Yes, that's my
So,
favorite advice because honestly, it's always true. Yeah. Sorry, go
oh
ahead.
yeah. I get in bed, I take a nap, I wake up, and there's a message on my phone from this guy being like, it's not actually my bike, it's my kid's bike. Call him and talk to him.
Wow.
And I talked to this kid. Turns out he's selling the bike because that was his first bike, and he's saving up to buy a new bike.
Oh, perfect, yo. Yeah.
And the last thing he needs to do is sell his old bike to be able to get the new one. You know, and he talks to me for a little bit. I was like, you know, I want the bike. I might not ride it this season, but I've got a mechanic in my town that's talked to him about the whole deal. And he's like, sounds great. Like, when can we meet? I was actually going to Ashfield the next day, which is where he lives.
Like you were already like it was already in your plans basically. Like it was like your higher power, or I'm sorry, your rainbow kind of took out its agenda and was like, all right, Jay's got his whole day set up tomorrow. We're gonna go get this bike, but like Jay don't know it yet.
And the funny thing is that I called this kid on my payday when I was like, if this works out, I can put half the money down and then in 2 weeks pay it off. And that gives me enough time to figure out how to get the bike from his place back to my place. And the one person who I know would be able to help me with the transport, I offered him some money. I was like, would you be able to help? And he was like, I could only do it on a weekend. Right now, I'm working double shifts on a weekend. That's 16 hours from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Ew, yo, no one should be working that much. Like that shit should be illegal.
But here's the thing. I'm only working one shift during the week, so I have the rest of my week. I want to go swimming. Do it. I want to hop on a meeting any time of day. Do it.
Wow,
so
that's
even
awesome.
if I'm at work, I don't need to worry because I know that, things are going to be taken care of one way or another.
Yeah, yeah. Well, going back to the bike story, like that's so cool that worked out, and I love that sobriety. Like I was reflecting on this too, and one of the questions I've been tweeting is like, I want to know other people's things that they got into in sobriety that surprised them, or that they were kind of into but like didn't want to invest time in it, and like for me, it's been some of the most random, weird, nerdy shit that I've realized. Like, oh, I really like American history. That's always been true. But now I kind of embrace it. And I'm like, this isn't like a bad thing. There's nothing, I don't know. I guess part of my whole thing with drinking too was I always wanted to be cool, but I'm actually like mad nerdy. And those are both stagnant terms, very fixed mindset, but I never let
Yeah,
myself
dude,
just
but
be myself,
like
you know? Yeah.
in my world, being a nerd is cool. Like you find something you really like and you're really passionate about that. Like, how is that a bad thing? Just because jocks find sports and are really passionate about it, that doesn't mean they're not nerds.
That's true. Yeah, because I'm so into football and like I'm into football and like the weird like I love knowing the stories behind players like on their come up. Like that shit is so inspiring to me.
Yeah, and like people see nerd as a derogatory term or something bad, and it really isn't. It's just like you found something that you're really passionate about that's not like something that's mainstream, so we're gonna like tease you about it.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like, are you really pointing the finger because you want to be a dick or because you're insecure about your own shit that you're passionate about?
I mean,
You
that's
know?
so true. And if you think about like, it kind of in recovery, you become kind of a recovery nerd in some senses. But when you're drinking, you're straight up you first of all, I could never focus enough to actually think about anything, but I definitely was just constantly obsessing about alcohol. So it's like I would rather be in my big book growing as a person than literally not entirely sure what I did for an entire week, you know?
Yeah. The way that we define the things that people are passionate about is really skewed in our society. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if if a dude is like really into like what he looks like and he's really all about it and like being healthy and being in shape, they're going to call him certain things that they wouldn't call a woman that is in like the same category.
Right.
You
And
know?
in fact, it's like yeah, and it works the other way around too. Yeah, yo, gender really bugged me, but it's the same thing when like dudes don't take care of themselves and it's like kind of socially acceptable, and then if a female like does it, like walks out of the house and like doesn't wear makeup, like she's like a bra burning feminist bitch or something, or like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
so
for sure.
annoying. I mean, granted, I look like the female version of a dude that just shaved in his car, so like I do exploit that, but
Yeah, dude, like I feel that. And
Yeah.
it's like, and that's like one of the things that like to me is really interesting because like there's people who knew me while I wasn't in the rooms, while I was still like actively being a dick, because that's another term for being an alcoholic in my world.
That's what I call it too, homie. Oh my god. So
And
aloof. I didn't give a fuck about anyone.
yeah, and
Yeah.
there's people out there that are like, you're not an alcoholic. And I'm like, yeah, no, but I definitely been a douchebag to you while I was drinking, and you never realized how much I was actually drinking.
I
Because
relate to that so hard. Yeah.
I wouldn't just drink out. I would drink out and then drive my ass home drunk and keep drinking.
Oh yeah. I always had
You
a
know?
beer in the cup holder while I drove somewhere. Like that became my
See, that
norm for the last
that I
3
generally
years.
didn't do, but I was definitely like unwell and getting worse on my own by myself, and
Got
at
you.
the
Yeah.
end I was ready to die. The way I like put myself through detox, I fully intended to die.
Damn. Did you cold turkey it?
Yeah.
Oh my
Ab-
god, no. Were you a liquor drinker?
yeah.
Oh no. See, no.
So I can tell you that I drank like half a gallon of whiskey and a whole bunch of beers and then detoxed myself alone in Vermont, well, house sitting for a friend.
All right, literally, if you're listening at home and you do that, like that's like how you
Don't.
die. Like you literally
Don't.
could have died. Did you have a seizure?
No.
Okay, that's good.
And that's like a miracle.
Yeah, yeah. We did you have the shakes?
Oh, yeah.
All right, I was
Wicked
gonna
bad. And I
say
was sick for days.
that's
Like, just
crazy.
don't do that.
I tried
Like,
to detox
seriously.
myself. Yeah, I went to the ER. I tried to detox myself by running and then but I was still taking Adderall by running and doing CrossFit. And the thing that happened is on like the fourth or fifth day of me, because I didn't drink liquor. I just well sometimes, but like mostly what I would do is I would just drink beer all day every day. Like not like okay, not before going to teach. To be honest, I never did that. But I would come home and it would be from 3:30 until literally 3:30 in the morning, and I would just be drinking beer
Yeah.
that whole time. So if that's what your body's used to when you stop, even if it's not a lot, it's like because it's so sustained. I
It's
did
still a
have
lot.
withdrawals. I was trying to sweat it out, and my ass got so dehydrated that I fainted while I was teaching, and they thought I was about to have a seizure. So I ended up in a stretcher from work. Like literally, the EMTs came into my school, my middle school where I taught, and had to get me. It was so embarrassing. Of course, I couldn't tell anyone. I just told everybody that I have seizures because I was actually on a med. Like I have bipolar, so some of the meds are for seizures also. So I just said that that's what
Yeah.
it was. My
Yeah.
boss was like, "What the fuck?"
But still, like,
Yeah.
it's just a really bad idea. Like, if you're gonna like get off of booze, like seek some professional help because it will kill you. Like it can and will,
Hell
and it
yeah.
is so dangerous. And I literally like expected to die. That is basically what I wanted. I was like so fucked up that I was just like, this is it. And
Yeah.
then 2 days later, when I felt slightly less like death, I called a family member that I love dearly and is in the program and was like, I need help. I don't know what to do anymore. And they brought me to my first meeting and my life changed,
Wow. Dude, that's
you know?
amazing. Yeah.
And now, like, some things are really, like, different. And I am so grateful for, like, all the things that are different. I'm doing a job that is super easy, is the best pay I've had in my life, has allowed me to, like, live and, like, catch up on all my bills and pay ahead. My car's at the shop right now because I have this job,
Wow.
and I don't have to worry about, is it going to be a like $400 or $500 fix. Like, I don't need to worry about that right now. And right now, that's okay. If the day comes where I'm like struggling again, that's okay too. I'll
Right.
deal with that if I get to that moment. But being in right now is like so important because if I'm not, I know I'm going to go back out, and that terrifies me
Word.
because I'm pretty sure that if I go back out it ain't gonna take very long for me to like end up dead in the gutter.
I
Because
think,
the
yeah,
way that I was going, I was heading towards much harder things than everything that I was putting in my body.
yeah,
You know?
yeah,
And I feel like you've heard my story. Drugs are a part of my story, and I try not to focus on that too much because I've noticed that when I talk about it, I tend to like not necessarily like glorify it, but definitely like I did a lot of things that to me were a lot of fun.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
really fucked up.
Yeah,
And then I look at it like realistically and I'm like, yeah, that was not safe. That was
yeah.
definitely not safe,
Oh, I know. There's
you
some
know?
times when I think back and I'm like, man, I literally pretty much only did that so that I could say that I did that, and it could have cost me my life. Like my
Yeah.
clout could have cost me my life on several times.
Yeah. Like now that I can like look at myself honestly and like really think about the shit that I've done and said and like the way I've like treated the people around me because of it and because of not being willing to like work on my own shit, like it's just baffling. Like why didn't I do this sooner? Why
Oh
didn't
man.
I like ask for help sooner? You know? And
Yeah.
now that like I have really taken a like solidly hard look at myself, I know that there's things about myself that I don't like and I work every single day to try my best to change those things and be better than the things that I was taught and the things that I learned from just like, you know, being in the world and observing the way that, you know, my parents treated each other, that people around me treated each other. Like, I don't want to be like that. I want to be better. And I, like, every day try to find the things and the moments in which I can be better. And instead of, like, turning around and being like, you son of a, you know, like try to find the kindness in myself and be like, how would I want to be treated in this situation?
Word.
If if I was making a mistake, would I want somebody to yell at me about it or would I want somebody to like approach me with kindness and be like, you know, that's not cool. Try to figure it out.
Word.
And
Yeah.
just
That's radical.
dude, and like I grew up around like so much violence and crap that like I don't want to keep spreading that shit around. It's pointless to do that shit, you know?
That's like radical compassion and the kind of the buck stops here type of thing that I love, that like it motivates me to. I don't want to do to anyone what either of my parents have done to me, and that means I have to take care of myself emotionally, learn how to set boundaries, and then teach it to other people. I'm really blessed that, and like
Yeah.
everything you just said, really just this. Thank you for that. I have, like, for real, thank you, because I needed to hear
Yeah,
that
dude.
today. I don't want to be mad
For
cheesy
sure.
either, but but it is. Yeah, I needed to
Nah,
hear
dude, it ain't even that. Like, honest ain't cheesy. Honest is honest. That's it.
it. That's it. Yo, you're that's it, man. I love that.
It's the truth. Like, if you're gonna tell somebody the truth, it's not being cheesy, it's not being extra, it's not being like dramatic, none of that. It's just, you know, it might come off as like a lot of those things that we've like had beaten into us that aren't okay to be, like, you know, having feelings. What the fuck is that about? I don't like it.
I hate it. Yeah.
I constantly tell my therapist that I don't have feelings even though I know I do. I hope my therapist never hears this.
Oh, I love that. That's mad funny.
Dude, but it's like why am I gonna like hide part of myself just to conform to what people think I should be? No.
Right.
Literally just no.
Well, I have a hard time with that because we can totally cut this if this isn't something that you want to have on the podcast. But with gender stuff, I really struggle because big parts of me are like, okay, like you're trans, like just transition, like it's not that big of a deal. It might be a big deal to some people in my life, but if that's something that, like, this is how I pep talk myself. I'm like, if it's something that you're ready to do, then just do it. But then I constantly have these like fears of like it's just straight up fear that I'm not it's not the right thing or that I'm gonna regret it. But nothing of my experience up to this point is messaging to me that I would regret it. So
Yeah.
it's been a journey, and I'm really hoping that as I continue to be and stay sober, that some of it will clear up. You know, I do think that part of me is like, well, you're gonna be fluid no matter what, so you just have to decide like how you're most comfortable presenting. And so anyway, as time has passed in sobriety, I'm getting a little more clarity. Like, is does any of that resonate with you? I don't know. That might have made no sense.
No, it does. And for me, part of it is that, like, I knew from a very young age, but I was, like, put in, like, such an extreme position in, like, my childhood and adolescence in terms of, like, religion and, like, social expectations and all this shit that I couldn't bring myself to, like, be okay with who I am and the way that I see myself.
Yeah.
And I've been in transition for now a couple weeks over a year.
Oh,
And
word. So you were sober.
yeah,
Wow.
I was June, so from October to June, so that's like 8 months. I was like 8 months sober when I started like the chemical part of the transition.
Wow.
And within like 2 months, just like the changes that happened in the first like 2 to 4 months, I had never felt better and more like confident and like safe in my body,
Damn.
you know?
Yeah.
And like I'm looking at like having consultation for surgery before the end of the year. And it's been a big part of my sobriety because I am a lot happier now. Because back then it was just like part of my alcohol abuse was straight up self-harm of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I hate the way I feel in my body,
All the time. Yeah.
and I want to put that in a way that like I can feel it physically. And that was like every time I woke up wicked hungover, there was one like sick and twisted part of me that was like, this is how you should feel regularly.
Damn. That struck a chord with me.
And it was just like there's some part of me that was like, because you're not comfortable in your body and you were constantly told to not be yourself and not be okay being not okay, you just have to like externalize all that pain and like being uncomfortable and feeling like shit like constantly, when in reality what I really needed was to be like, okay, this is who I am, regardless of everything that I've been told throughout my life. This is who I am. And then really ask myself the hard questions. Am I willing to pursue this to the extent to which I will be happy with it for the rest of my life? How far am I willing to take this? And apparently, I am really glad that I got sober when I did, because I have come to find out through like the transition process that I am not afraid of needles or sticking myself with them.
Oh man.
And you don't have to be afraid, because they actually make gels and patches and all kinds of wonderful things that have nothing to do with needles.
Oh, that's good, because I really would prefer no needles, like, ever. But I do have
Yeah,
tattoos,
see?
though, so there's that.
Yeah, like you don't even have to worry about that. And for me, like, that's what works. I stab myself in the leg once a week. To me, that's no big deal.
Word.
Because in order to like get to a place where I'm happy, I was willing to get sober. I'm willing to give myself shots every week. I'm willing to have uncomfortable conversations with people that I love. I am willing to reach out to people that I wouldn't even like think about talking about or to if I was like out there drinking, you know?
Yeah. Damn. No,
So
that's like part of it when I really think about it. It's like, it's just so much talking to people about things that people are so uncomfortable. They are always tiptoeing around the conversation with me, and part of it is I'm tiptoeing right back. I don't like
dude, but I
bringing it
mean,
up, and I don't like even because my sisters, they're big, I don't know, they're my best friends in my whole life, but their big thing is like they're scared they're not of not having a sister. It's like no, like I feel personally I'll always be their sister. It's not like that. But
Dude, you're always gonna be their sibling, regardless of like how you present, how
right,
you sound. Like it's just gonna be you,
right,
dude. And that's things that there's parts of my family that don't understand that, and that's no longer my problem.
all right,
If they can't see how happy I am and accept it, that is not on me.
word,
I'm not gonna like put aside my happiness to make other people comfortable. And it's just like coming out of the closet. It's just like, what color are your walls? Like, it doesn't matter if it's a rainbow or whatever. It's like, it's just another hard conversation. What is the difference between telling somebody I'm gay and telling somebody you love I've got cancer? It's just a difficult conversation.
yeah, yeah,
It's like, how do you approach somebody you love and who raised you and say, I'm an alcoholic?
that's true,
You know,
yeah,
all of those are wicked difficult conversations. And it all starts with like the steps of the program, and everybody like can live by different programs. For us, it's acceptance of who we are, what we've done with our lives, and the steps that we're willing and able to take in order to better that.
damn, and I think about if I want sustained sobriety, I am gonna have to do something because it's bad. I mean, I get to do a lot of jokes about it, and that is like for me, stand up comedy has been like the outlet for my gender issues because I have found a way, like everything in my life, it's like I just find a way to laugh about it because I literally don't know what else to do. It's almost like fight, flight, or freeze. I'm not gonna do any of those three. I'm a joke, Like mine
Yeah,
is
gotta laugh
like,
so that you don't cry.
yeah, in some ways, yeah, I guess, but yeah, I guess we'll go with that. Of course, I don't want to go with that, but but yeah, I go up on stage and talk all about my gender stuff, and then I know that it's a fear based thing for me where taking that step means a commitment that I just up until now I haven't even felt remotely ready to do it, and now I'm like, well, what the fuck else am I doing? I'm just
Well,
making a
dude, that is
podcast.
something for you to look at and really like, sometimes you just gotta sit down and have a really hard conversation with yourself.
Oh, but I'm so annoying.
Dude, I am annoying too, and I had to do it, and dude, I'm better for it.
Oh man. You mean I have to
And
hang out
like,
with me? Ugh.
when you got sober, there was some part of you that literally said, I have to do this.
Yeah.
And there was another part of you that asked, why? And then the answer to that was like, because I got to get better,
Yeah. It's
you
like I
know?
can't do this anymore. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just about having those difficult conversations in one way or another,
It's funny
you
because
know?
part of me I worry about this is so probably so dumb, but it's the weirdest people that I get worried about what they're gonna think, and some of it is like my niece and nephew. They're 5 and 2, but I really don't think that they are gonna give a shit. I think that they're just confused that I'm female. Like honestly, I think that that's the most confusing part for them. Yeah.
Whose job is it to explain that to them? Is it your job? Is it their parents' job?
Yeah.
Why not just sit down with them and be like, this is how the world is now, and science is so advanced that I could actually be who I wanted to be.
Word. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if they've got questions, kids will ask.
That's true.
There is
Especially at that
there is
age. They don't give a
nothing
fuck.
that a kid will not ask. They
Yeah.
are not afraid.
Yeah. That's a good point.
You
Damn.
know?
So
And
in sobriety you were like, "All right, let's do it." Or did you already kind of have it in motion or like
no, I had thought about it for a really long time.
okay.
As a kid, I got made fun of for like wearing boys' clothes and like looking like a boy or wanting to have my hair short even though I wasn't allowed to, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that, where I was like, why? Like, this is how I feel. Like, shouldn't I be allowed to decide? And literally everybody around me was like, no. And
yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
kind of like my curiosity is what saved me from like the life that I was living and had laid out in front of me, because it was not good. It was not healthy. And what the people that brought me into this world wanted for me was nowhere near what I wanted. And when I was like, I'm going to pursue my dreams, they were like, you're dead to us.
Damn.
You know? And I had to find a way to like be okay with that. And I don't know if I'm there yet.
Yeah, yo.
You know?
Yeah, I do. I'm struggling with my parents' stuff too.
All right. Is there any like straight up questions you want to ask me?
You know what's funny is I usually will throw them in, but you've already touched on, you've given specific advice. You've talked about for newcomers what to do with the whole, do not detox yourself from home. I
Yeah, no,
usually,
don't.
right, and I usually ask what hobbies or interests are new that you've developed in sobriety, so you did that one. And then the only other thing is I usually just have people talk a little bit about if there's anything different they're doing for their program in this coronavirus crisis thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's definitely stuff. I mean, thankfully, I got the job that I currently have due to the crisis, which, you know, to me is a little weird, but whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've been doing a lot of things for like self-care, and not just taking care of myself, but taking care of my partner, making sure that the apartment that I live in is clean. Me and my roommates have been doing a lot of like texting back and forth about like the maintenance on the apartment. I haven't been able to like work out as regularly as I would, because, you know, all gyms are closed and
Yep.
all that good stuff. But
Yep.
I've been like working out sporadically with one of my housemates. You know, now I'm trying to like be better about my diet, like the amount of like physical activity that I'm doing. And, you know, like the smaller things that I need to get in line to like feel more comfortable in my body, looking at surgery and that kind of stuff. Like, I need to be able to get to a place where I feel better,
Yeah.
not just like about my body, but just fully like feel better.
Yes, I get that. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
look in the mirror and not be like, who's she though? That's my
Yeah.
favorite. I've been
Or
looking in the
even
mirror
like,
like,
who's
damn,
this
she,
dude?
yeah.
Like, yeah, I've been like really focusing on things that like will improve my well-being all around. I haven't been going to as many meetings as I would like to be, because for me, like, in-person meetings were a huge part of my life before the
Yup.
crisis.
Hey, that's why we're here.
Yeah, but now I have like made a point of like, you know, going to at least 3 meetings in a week,
Okay,
because I
word.
was doing like, you know, morning meeting every single day of the week. I can't do that right now. So I'm trying to like figure out ways to like work my program better. And even though I haven't gotten as far like working the steps, I still like do my very best to apply them in a like active way to my life every day,
That's what's up.
because I might not have like fully worked them, but I know what they say. I know I have a like broad understanding of what they mean, and therefore I'm going to like use that as much as I can in my daily living to be a better person,
Mm.
because I'm afraid to death of going back to being the person that I was while I was out there.
Yeah, man, that shit it sneaks up on you so fast.
Yeah. So just checking in with myself regularly of like, where am I at with this? How do I feel today? Almost like with like an edge of paranoia, looking for the signs of things that could take me back out, because I don't want to. And it is so hard for me to just like pick up a phone and call my sponsor, call any of the like people that I can call friends in the program. It's so hard for me to just do that. And I'm not sure like why that is, and I feel like that's related to my doing of the steps, to the way that I like see myself in the world.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like I'm worth anything, you know?
This is so funny because I have another podcast and we're having a conversation and I said almost exactly word for word what you just said. Where it's like I feel like unworthy sometimes of help or when people are just nice to me for no reason. I'm just like, why the fuck are you being nice? Like, what's your secret? What strings are you trying to pull right now? And it's like, no, some
Dude,
people are just good people.
yeah. And I mean, the way I think about it is like, I might feel unworthy. I might feel really down on myself constantly, but I behave like I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, I behave like the type of person that I want to be.
Yeah.
Like a person that is confident, a person that is outgoing and can like sit down and talk to somebody when they're having a hard time and be kind about it and be open and honest. And even if I don't feel like that, I am going to do my damnedest to behave that way. Because honestly, like, I've got to fake it until I make it. The only way in which that does not apply is my sobriety.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because if I fuck around with my sobriety, everything else goes out the window.
True.
And I am not about to, like, do that because I want to be able to, like, be an example to newcomers in the rooms who are like, I feel like I'm losing my shit.
Yeah.
And be the person that I had when I came into the program that's like, you know what? It's okay to feel like you're losing your shit for the first, like, 6 months to a year. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's a thing, you know? And nowadays, it might have even be longer because of this crisis.
Hell yeah.
You know, you just got to keep going back, keep, like, talking to people who have more experience than you do in the program, people who have more time, people who can give you solid advice on, like, how to approach the program, how to work the steps, you know? Because for me, if I hadn't, like, made friends with, like, all of the, like, old-timers in some of the groups where I go, I would have been fucked.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the other people who were, like, in the program had seen me while I was out there, and there's literally been people in the rooms that have been like, you're not going to last.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
like, okay, that's fine. That's your opinion. You get to keep that opinion.
And shove it up your ass.
I'm gonna do my program.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna keep living. I'm gonna keep being sober at least for today.
Yeah.
Because if I keep, like, putting myself in the what's going to happen, the what if, I know that, you know, the next thing that's going to happen is I'm crawling my way out of a bottle. And that's not where I want to be.
Yeah, I really appreciate you saying this because as someone who, my behavior is like the first thing that slipped, I really needed to hear that, you know, just to act the way in which I needed others to act around me to be a good example. To basically be the example.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you really think about it, like, who do you want to be in this world? Not how you feel, not how all of that other shit. Like, who do you want to be in this world?
Batman.
Behave like that.
Hell yeah. Let's kick some
know,
ass.
And if it's Batman, like, you better write some bomb jokes so that you can make millions and then become a vigilante or something.
Hell yeah.
Just, you know,
no guns,
do it
bitches. Yeah.
As long as you do it sober, it's going to be fine.
Oh, man. Yeah. I can't imagine if Batman wasn't sober. Man, that would be embarrassing. Wow. Yeah. No, that's really good advice to kind of manifest that. Who do I want to be? And then be that.
Yeah. And for me, like, it's been really hard in sobriety to, like, maintain that because I know who I want to be as a sober person, but I also know who I am as a drunk. And, like, sober me knows that the person that I want to be has nothing in common with who I am when I'm drunk.
That's so true.
So
right?
in order to stay sober, you know, I've got to like stay in today and keep my eye on the goal, because otherwise I'm just going to like end up crawling out of a bottle the next time I like look at myself, and I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I gotta head back inside and.
Dude, you're
see
awesome.
if
Thank you
they
so
need
much.
me.
Yeah, thank you so much and thanks for, like, you just taught me a lot, and I really hope, I know the listeners are gonna like it too, but just like on a personal one-on-one level, like, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Hell
Peace,
yeah.
dude.
See you. Bye. All right, that's it. Again, thanks so much for being here. And another big thanks to Jay. I really appreciate your vulnerability and your willingness to open up and share about gender identity and what it's like being trans. And I don't know if I've specifically mentioned this on the show before, but I do identify as non-binary, which basically means if you're someone that thinks of gender as an either-or situation, I'm somewhere in the middle. I might be biologically female, but my gender expression is often much more masculine, and as far as my identity, I just don't know. I'm not entirely sure, and that's okay. I've also transitioned over to using they/them pronouns, something I never thought I would do, but it's helped other people to make more sense of me, and in turn, it's allowed me to kind of relax and take the time I need to figure out what I want. And I appreciate Jay talking to me about this stuff and the way that sobriety can allow you to take the time, get to know yourself, figure out what you need specifically and what's going to be best for you. And that's where I am on the journey right now. So I'm just grateful to have this podcast. I'm grateful you're here listening to it. And look, I'm not going to pick up today no matter what. Peace.